Hi guys! Today I would love to talk to you about Sea Slug. Not just any Sea Slug, a invertebrate. Not just any invertebrate, a Philiro, Pacifilo. These guys are really cool because they are completely transparent. They are from the phylum Mollusca. They are 2 to 3 inches long. They look like a fish. They swim like a fish. They even have a tail like a fish. Their tail is 60% of their body length. So other sea slugs use their foot to move around. These guys use their tail. Why? Nobody knows. Maybe it's because they use it to hunt. They need to be fast so they can catch their dinner. Oh, scrumptious. Whatever the reason, the invertebrate still, man, what a cool adaptation. These guys. Woo! So we're gonna find them mostly in the Mediterranean Sea. They have been spotted across all oceans, but mostly they're gonna be found in the Mediterranean. So these guys have evolved to look like a fish, like I said, but they also produce bioluminescence, and they live in the top layer of the ocean, being the epipelagic zone. This zone is typically where we see a lot of sunlight, so it's weird that they reproduce bioluminescence. Also, bioluminescence is, typically seen in a lot of deep sea animals compared to an animal that lives in the top layer of the ocean where there's already a lot of light. So why would they do this? Scientists believe that they do this because they come out mostly at night to hunt, so they have to light their way around. It's dark, the sun's gone out, they have a little bit of moonlight, but maybe it's to produce more light. There's not a whole lot going about these guys, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of funding out there to send, people out there to go study these kind of creatures. But they are still pretty cool, and something that we should definitely think about, and especially when we're out there on the ocean and just throwing our trash everywhere, and that's getting into the oceans. We're getting into that in a little bit here. But first, I want to touch on how these guys feed, because I think the way they feed is pretty cool. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna hatch from the egg as villager larvae. Now, this villager larvae is a little baby organism, right? That's gonna free float in the ocean, and they're going to latch onto a jellyfish, and essentially they are going to suck life out of the jelly. Ooh. So it's also pretty cool because you can see right through these guys, so you can see the whole process of them sucking the life out of the jelly, and the jellyfish is becoming smaller, and they're becoming bigger, and you can see these little particles of jellyfish going through their digestive gland, which is pretty neat. Now, these guys also will eat plankton. Poor little plankton. He's always trying to get that secret formula, but this time he's going to get eaten by a Philiro Pacifila. Shame. It's a shame. So they feed on plankton and other small organisms in the ocean, and they also do come back to the jellyfish throughout their lives. Now, why should we care? Well, we should care for many reasons. One of those reasons is going to be scientists link sea slugs to climate change, meaning they're an indicator species. Now, for example, the abundance of invertebrates may be linked to climate change. So some sea slugs have a rare or novel chemical compound which possess anti-monocle and anti-parasitic traits. Now, these have been used in the aid to fight cancer or other illnesses. So a lot of us know someone who has either had cancer or have unfortunately passed away from cancer. And the fact that some sea slugs may be able to help us aid in this fight against such a deadly disease. I mean, maybe not specifically Philiro Pacifilo as far as we know, but that's because we don't know a lot about these guys. If we have more research done and we gain more knowledge, who knows the benefits these guys could offer us. Um, and unfortunately, these guys live at the top layer of the ocean, right? And I mean, most of our pollution and stuff is gonna be floating on the top layer, which is really sad because also that's where coral reefs live. And coral reefs are really essential to our ecosystem, and they are down there getting bleached, which means they are turning white, which essentially means that they are dying. So, like, imagine you come home from a long day at work, and spending a stressful day, and your house is essentially dead, gone, perished. Like, that would suck. So these guys are free swimming, but I mean, they live around the coral reefs. They, I'm sure, rely on the coral reefs in some way. You know what I mean? And then, like, these coral reefs are getting bleached, so that's really sad. We're destroying these guys' habitat. Um, so this could be linked to biodiversity decline, a rarity, and the invertebrate species. Okay, so what can we do to help all this? One of the biggest things that we're going to be able to do is change pollution. We got to recycle more. Not only do we got to recycle more, the biggest reason behind all this, and it's going to sound a little strange, but I mean, capitalism is a big problem. And in a lot of ways to us, and it affects us in a lot of ways as far as money go, and living paycheck to paycheck. But not only that, capitalism is rewarding the big companies for going out there and overfishing for seafood and stuff like horseshoe crab, stuff like cod fillet, stuff like shrimp. There's such a high demand for these products, and these companies are going out there and they're getting rewarded with lots of money to go out there and fish out these creatures, causing there to be a rarity in certain species like cod, for example. There's a declining number because there's such overfishing populations for cod, and it's sad because these companies are throwing their nets in the ocean, and sometimes there's nets break off or whatever. They leave them out there in the ocean. Sometimes they are like the bits of pieces of trash are flying off the boats and stuff and polluting the ocean. There's a lot of that pollution is coming from these overfishing companies out there, getting rewarded big money for essentially polluting. And I mean, they're capturing our food, but they're also polluting the ocean that they're pulling the food out of. So that's something that we gotta think about, and we definitely gotta think about spending less money on seafood, and pushing for more regulations from our governments. That is my number one thing here is less money on single-use plastics and seafood. So yeah, guys, I mean, if we keep polluting our oceans, keep destroying these guys' habitat, cause them to go extinct, and all of a sudden there's no Philaropicifilo anymore, how will we ever know why they glow? How will we ever know for sure why they look like a fish? Why did they adapt to look this way? How will we ever know for sure if they have anything at all in their bodies, or their bowel plan, anything at all that can help us understand more about life in general, and maybe even some chemicals that can help humans with major diseases. And there's so much here. So I really urge you guys to regulate our governments and spend less money on seafood and single-use plastics. And let's do better. Let's recycle. Let's cause less pollution and take care of these guys' homes, because we would if we had a guest over at our house, we would expect them to take care of our home. So why not do the same for ocean life? Thank you guys.